So today we're talking about some of our earliest money memories and how that is impacting our decisions as we're moving into retirement. So Allison has done some work around this and read a recent book on this idea of money scripts. Allison, you want to dig into some of that?
Sure. So our topic today is based off of this book called Wired for Wealth. This is by Brad Klontz, Ted Klontz, and Rick Collar. So what this book walks through is how our behaviors around money are shaped by our money scripts. And money scripts are the messages that we've received as children and internalized around money, and they impact our unconscious behaviors around money. So some examples of these might be money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. Those are some of the examples that we might be living out in our daily lives. And what Chad and I are going to do today is an exercise called money egg. We're going to draw with our non-dominant hands, our money egg, and try to recall our earliest money memories to identify those money scripts that we're living by today.
Yeah, this is an example for you guys so that you could go do that. We'll show you here in a little bit what that looks like, but it can be a vulnerable experience because you're digging into some of these past memories and how they're impacting your decisions today. So let's get into that.
Yep, I brought my markers, so we'll try to make it fun. All right, so Chad and I are back from drawing our money eggs. So you can see what we came up with. We drew with our non-dominant hands, and apparently I didn't get the memo that you were supposed to draw your pictures inside the egg, but we'll get the point. So we went through, Chad, what were some of your earliest memories, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, some things came to mind towards the end, but the first was, of course, the incentive of getting rewarded for grades. I mean, that was always money equaled good performance equaled money for me in that early life. Also, baseball card collecting, that was one that I put up there, and learning how to barter a little bit, how to set the price for something and receive money back for it. My dad allowed me to do that at a baseball card show early on. That stuck with me. And then getting a Nintendo for Christmas, I remember as a kid, was a big deal. And so that kind of stuck in my head, that getting good gifts for people means a lot, right? In the right circumstances. So that stuck out to me as a kid. Those were positive memories. And then waiting tables later on in life, enabled me to see the other side of things and how you can get rewarded for good service and good work. So that stuck with me. Those were my positive ones. The negative ones, or the subtraction ones, I guess you would look at, are working on a stop slow crew on a road crew. That was not one of my favorites. That lasted a week. Learned that was not going to be an employment for me long-term. Also working at a grocery store. I did that for many years in high school. That was not going to be for me either. I was pushing a grocery cart on my money egg there. And then the savings mentality, I actually graded as a negative a little bit. I drew a bank with my dad taking me there because it was forced. The scarcity mindset early on was prevalent in a lot of conversations about how you had to save everything, and that would set you up down the road. So, but that can also be a negative, right? Because it can hinder you from enjoying. So those were my experiences and my money egg.
All right, thanks for sharing those. I'll share my money egg with you. You can see. So my very earliest memory was my grandma used to take me to play bingo with her at church. And I remember her friends would give me $1 or a quarter. And that was a real positive memory. And I remember my grandmother instilled in me a lot of values. Thrift and saving were some of them. And also one of her famous expressions was, "You don't have a chance if you don't take a chance." So she liked to do little things like play bingo and take a few chances. I also have a little shopping cart, and that was also at my grandmother's house. They had a dirt floor basement with shelving that was all full of staples. So soap, laundry detergent, canned goods. They grew up during the Depression, so you always wanted to be prepared because there might be times where you might have to go without. I also drew a picture of my dad. He was a little bit of the opposite mentality from my grandmother. We used to call him Full Price Don because he didn't mind paying full price for most things. He didn't shop for bargains. Also drew a dollar bill. My grandmother would give me $1 at the dollar store and let me pick out whatever I wanted. So those were all positive memories. I also drew a little blue bank. That was what I had that I kept my money in when I was a child. I drew a positive and a negative just because it was both a good experience learning to save the money. And then I think also sometimes stressful knowing that starting to learn how much things cost and knowing that you might not ever be able to save up for certain things. I also drew some little orange tokens. That's supposed to be an arcade. That was an experience I had where my mom had given me money for snacks at a movie and I ended up spending it at the arcade instead. And she was not happy with me. I also have my first job was at Chick-fil-A. So I drew what looks like a little chicken. Probably doesn't look like a chicken at all, but that was mostly a positive experience. I would say kind of started me thinking about earning money and how many hours you have to work to obtain certain things. Working at Chick-fil-A, I bought my first car, which was a little blue Acura Integra, both a positive and negative experience there with, obviously you spend a lot of money, wasn't an expensive car. I think it was a 1989 Acura Integra, water leaked in when it rained. So that was both a positive and a negative. I worked hard and I earned it myself. So I was proud of it, but there were some things that went along with that weren't so pleasant. And then my top one is a pair of boots. I remember in high school, my dad bought me a pair of full price Doc Marten boots, and both a positive and a negative because I think my mom wasn't too happy about that purchase. So those are some of my money memories that shaped the way I think about money and some of my behaviors today.
So Allison, that leads us to the steps. There's 5 steps that we've identified here that can change your money mindset. So going through our money egg exercise, or if you've done that now, as you've watched us do that, let's talk about these steps that you can use to change your money mindsets.
Sure. So really the first step is to face your fear. And in doing this, we just want to acknowledge that some of these money scripts may not be serving you well in your current reality. So that's the first step, is to look at reality and look at how these scripts might be influencing your behaviors. After that, we want you to go through and visit your past. And the money egg exercise is a great way to do that. Think about, what was your first memory of money? What were your positive money experiences? And maybe what were your more painful or traumatic experiences around money? After that, step number 3, you want to understand your present. So look at really where you are from a reality based. What's your balance sheet? What's your income, your expenses? What are we looking at on a more objective level? Once you have that in place, number 4, you want to envision your future and really think about, what do you want your life to look like? If you were free of these money scripts, how would you live? What would you do? What kind of items would you want to be incorporating in your life, and who would you be with? Lastly, once you've gone through these first 4 steps, you want to transform your life. So redefine your priorities and your core values. Look at, in light of those changes, what are your financial goals now versus what they might have been before you went through these exercises? And in order to achieve those goals, what changes do you need to make to your current lifestyle and behaviors?
Yes, we'll put all this together in a download for you that you can walk through these steps, because I think it'd be an interesting experience, right? To start with a financial plan, because that is what enables you to understand the present. It forces you to go back sometimes and look at why you believe what you do about money. And then it also helps you envision that future, because that's what we're all after here. When you're putting together a plan, you're taking steps to get to where you want to be. And sometimes really honing in on what that is you want to be in the future, whether that's saving more, earning more, just feeling more peace of mind, taking advantage of taxes in terms of savings, a little more there. So there's a lot of steps and a lot of maneuvers you can do. We have a lot of other examples in our YouTube videos, our history, and then also in podcasts. If you don't want to miss our next episode, you can subscribe. We do this every 2 weeks, and we appreciate you joining us. Look forward to talking to you in 2 weeks.